Okay, so making $30,000 in 60 days, that series, literally like I was just sitting there under a tree, like on the beach, just thinking to myself, because I was working so hard and it wasn't really going anywhere. Just like everybody else, I have days where just like my mind's not in the right place and I'm not working hard enough. I just thought to myself, I have 60 days until the winter shows up. And I looked at my budgeting and I realized I need $30,000. It's a lot of money.
Right.
If I don't make that $30,000, I'm screwed. And then it kind of like light bulb flicked in my head. I'm like, why am I not posting about this?
Straight facts. Back at it again. Sosa in the cut.
And your man Zace in the building. And today, folks, we have Xeno in the building. Thanks for pulling up.
Of course, man.
My man, viral online influencer, content creator, jeweler, and much more. Right? So we appreciate you coming in, bro. We appreciate you coming in for sure, bro.
Thank you for your time.
Man.
So, tell us a little bit more about your story. How did you become an entrepreneur?
Bro, how does anybody answer that? It's like, to be like an entrepreneur, it's like, I feel like it's one of those things, like I feel like you can't really pinpoint the day that you actually became an entrepreneur. It's more about like, how do you get more involved into what are you doing? You know what I mean? I think I've always been an entrepreneur at heart, but the truth is like, the deeper you go down the rabbit hole, the more it's like you build those achievements that kind of, those achievements that just kind of let you know more and more every single day, okay, this is what I do now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because being an entrepreneur in itself, it's not an achievement to say, I am doing this. It's more like, how many businesses am I growing? How much money am I putting on the table? You know what I mean? It's like, how many people am I shaking hands with? That's really more, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's more how you define
Yeah.
your role and networking and whatnot, I would imagine.
Yeah.
So you always knew you didn't want to be a 9-to-5er.
Nah, bro, like I grew up in a military family.
Okay.
Oh, for
And
real?
I see how that just, it's not doing it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think like when I was very young, I wanted to be military, but I see what it does to families, you know what I mean? Especially like, you know, my family was kind of like lower in the ranks.
Right.
And I think from 12 years old, I actually knew literally like whatever I do, there's no way I'm going to school.
Right.
So that's kind of like, it kind of affected high school in a way because I knew I wasn't crossing over to university. So that gave me a lot of time to kind of figure out and think about what I want to do.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I think, you know, when I crossed over from high school, I still didn't know what I really wanted to do. And that's kind of where jewelry came in because I thought for a long time, like, I kind of sat myself down and I said, okay, I'm not going to make a move until I'm very sure about what I want to do for the rest of my life. And I was okay with that. Like I knew I got a long life to live. I'm 18 years old. Whatever my next step is, I want to be very sure about it and just go really hard.
Yeah.
And I knew that basically whatever I was going to do, I had to be able to afford any kind of jewelry I wanted. Like if I wanted a $200,000 chain, I wanted to be able to afford that, and I didn't want anyone to tell me I couldn't have it. But like at the same time, I didn't believe that I could actually make that kind of money to afford it. So that led me to the conclusion, okay, I'm gonna start making my own jewelry. Because I was still so weak-minded that like I didn't believe I could make that kind of money. But I'm like, okay, best of both worlds. Nobody knows what I actually want.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like still, like when I was 16, like I got, you know, some custom work done. You know, I got people to make pieces for me, and you know, still like I was willing to put like 400 hours of work being a dishwasher just to afford a chain like this.
Right.
So like to me, that kind of showed the level of dedication, like how far I'm willing to go literally just to wear a chain.
Yeah. You literally counted the hours that you needed for that chain.
Bro, because people, like a rapper,
Hours.
bro, a rapper's gonna go on stage and they'll make $100,000 in an hour.
Right.
And then he's gonna drop that on a chain. So what does that really mean to them?
Yeah.
What does that chain really signify if they worked an hour to get it? They're not gonna look at it the same.
Nope.
As a dishwasher who's been, literally every single night, like
Right.
5 days a week after high school, you go home at like 1 a.m. And all you got on your mind is, yo, it's gonna be a sick chain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't hit the same when you
Yeah.
put that kind of work into it.
You feel more gratitude towards the outcome, right?
Yeah, so it's like naturally when you think really hard on like what it is that you want to do, it's things like that you think about. It's like, what have I spent my money on?
Yeah.
And it's like, if I'm willing to work like hundreds of hours just to buy a chain that no one really understands, it's like there's something there.
I hear you, Xeno. I see why you're viral, man. We're gonna keep this interview pushing, man. Now, as an entrepreneur, like, what really motivates you and drives you, right? I mean, you touched on that a little bit, but go in more details, right? What drives you?
Yeah.
I think it's really just like the commitment. Like what drives me is knowing that there's no situation where I quit. It's like every single day things get better. Even if it feels like things are getting harder and tougher and worse in some ways, I know I'm making progress. And I know that if I don't keep moving, I'm going backwards, and that's crippling. Like to any entrepreneur, when you feel like you're going back and you could have done something to prevent it, that like really messes with your head.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because you're responsible for everything, right?
Yeah, no one cares whether you like win or lose.
Exactly.
No one actually cares. Like everyone's so self-absorbed in their own life. No one's gonna be holding your hand and worrying about you.
Correct.
So it's like my motivation is literally just like, why not?
Right.
I like what I do. I chose this. Like I knew what I was getting into. I didn't jump into this like being so clueless as to like I didn't know it was gonna be hard.
It's like when they say, like, when you step out the house, you're on your own.
Yeah.
People on your team, they're gone.
Yeah.
But question for you: why jewelry though? Like, you're mentioning the whole drive, and putting yourself to work, and building those hours, and you're getting something out of it. But out of all the things that you've like chosen, why jewelry? Tell me, like, what does jewelry mean to you in general?
I could give you about 10 reasons.
You like big shiny things.
That's one of them.
You're right.
But I think one that I can really pinpoint is the fact that it's sort of like just a different way to express yourself. The same way like people get tattoos. You know what I mean? Like when you look at somebody and they have like certain tattoos, you're gonna think differently of them. You're gonna kind of categorize them in a way. I think jewelry does that in a very specific and unique way. Like if you see me walking in with a Uzi pendant,
Yes.
most people, they're like, shockingly enough, when I bought it, I thought it would like intimidate people. But people actually look at that and they just think it's dope.
Right.
I've never actually had somebody look at me and think I'm dangerous.
Right,
Because I'm wearing like a Uzi pendant.
Uzi pendant, yeah.
They just think it's like, oh, what the fuck? Like look at that. Like where'd you
Right,
get that? Everyone's just curious. But that's like, one, it's a conversation starter. Two, it tells you a little bit more of like who I am, what I'm about, what I do.
Yes.
It's like the same reason guys wear nice watches. It's a conversation starter. It's like, you know what I mean?
Definitely. Some guys are watch guys. Some other guys, are chain guys. But I think you really touched on the whole thing about, the being part of your being an accent of your personality, or to add to it, because people do look at you different when you come with a big piece. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or a shiny piece, or 3 skinny chains, right?
You know what? I do have one point.
Go ahead.
I walked into a club when I was 16 years old.
Don't tell me you got chain snatch. Don't tell me you got chain snatch.
Bro, never. Actually, when I made this chain, that was my one instruction.
Right.
No one's snagging this.
Chain snatch proof. Everybody watching this, don't you dare. Go ahead, Xeno.
I walked into a club, wasn't supposed to be there, not the point.
Right.
I saw these dudes sitting in the back. They had diamonds shining in the dark. It's the first time I've ever seen anything like it.
16 years old.
I'm telling you, bro, like I couldn't see their face.
Right.
But I could see the chain like a Cuban link.
Right.
With like 100 carats of diamonds just shining. And I looked at this and all I could think about is like, who the fuck is that?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I looked at this and I'm
Right.
like who's out here with this kind of
What's
money?
going on? Yeah.
Like who's spending their money on this
Yeah.
kind of shit? But I look at that and it's just dope.
Right.
You know, it's like they're kind of like, it's just one of those things you look at and you just can't help but stare.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It just kind of like captivates you.
100%. It's just jewelry,
And that's what
the
pulled me
piece
in.
does.
Yeah.
Even J. Cole, he says he doesn't like jewelry for the way that people look at him. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? With the piece, I
brings
mean,
attention.
some people like it, some don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We all rocking chains tonight. You know what I mean? We like our little pieces. You know what I mean? This is a little Versace. You know what I mean?
All right,
You
man.
gotta do something for me, man. One day you're gonna do something for me.
Yeah, bro, I'll hold you to it.
Okay. Future customer over here. Okay, Xeno. In one word, describe your life.
Oh, God. Progression.
Why?
Because no matter what I do, man, I just keep going. Like, no matter what happens, like, no matter what happened the day before, I wake up and I just know I got to keep going. Pick up where you left off. It's literally like there's no thoughts in my mind about like leisure or going out to clubs or like, just chilling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like even I'll go and I'll chill and I'll relax, but that's still work because my body needs that.
Right.
It's like I need to
it's
unwind.
in you. It's like you're a true entrepreneur. It's like it's
Yeah.
in you. You feel it must have been hard for you staying at home during COVID.
Yeah, dude. No, COVID was weird though. I won't go too deep, but like literally I was so trapped at home that I left and I went to Europe just to
Right.
be somewhere else.
You have to do something.
And learn how to make jewelry there.
Right.
Because I couldn't stay at home. Like
Right.
everything's shut down. Like I had to do
That's
something.
when it really started the whole entrepreneurial journey
I'd say so.
with the jewelry.
I'd
But you
say
do
so.
much more. You got viral videos online. How to make 30K in 60 days. Like it's legit, guys. Go check it out. But who inspired you?
You know what? The guy who inspired me to start making jewelry, hands down, Bobby White.
Bobby White.
He was the only jeweler that I could see that was making videos that made it seem remotely possible. Because like I was looking at making jewelry as something that's like I couldn't even wrap my mind around how you do something like that.
Right.
And he was making such clear quality videos
Right.
and putting them out there that I looked at that and I'm like, bro, he's just human. It's just clear that if you put the time in and effort, it's gonna happen.
Right.
And it looked fun. He made it look like something that was like, as hard as it is, it's something that I can do every day and never get bored of.
Right.
But without seeing those videos, there's no way that I would have been inspired to like start. So I owe a lot of my passion to him.
Barry White. That's
Bobby.
cool. Bobby White.
Bobby
Get
White.
Get it right. Yep. My bad, bro.
Yeah.
What do you think would be a key element in starting and running a successful jewelry business?
I think the key element, which would be true in many other businesses, is to think long and hard about what it is you want to get out of it. There's 1,000 different ways to run a jewelry business, and you got to figure out where you fit in, right? Because there's there's diamond dealers, there's goldsmiths, diamond setters, there's retailers, manufacturers. It's like you got to figure out where you fit in because you don't want to jump into the industry, go all in on something, and realize you learn a little more, and now you want to go here,
Yeah.
but
You
you're
wanna
already
master your
invested
talent.
$100,000 there.
Yeah.
Be very sure about like what it is you want to do, because like I'm lucky that I just literally want to do everything. Like everything is like captivating to me, but a lot of people they like to stick in their corner.
What was the so to follow up on that? We kind of talked about this off camera, but what was the route that you were looking to go? I think you were mentioning something. You're referring to diamonds. Give us a bit more clarity.
Yeah, the end goal I think it's really to be a diamond setter, because I believe from what I've seen, you really need to specialize in something if you want to be the greatest. Because that is my goal. I want to be like art is subjective. No one's actually the best. It's all about perspective, what people think. But I want to be arguably one of the greatest jewelers in the world. And part of that, because I think too many people, they focus too hard on the actual craft itself. For the first time throughout all of human history, we've been making jewelry forever. For the first time, we have cameras.
Yeah.
I want to be the first guy who really pushes that to its limits, to its full potential, and put the synergy between the both of them, and make it so that I show thousands, hopefully even millions of other kids that they can do it too, the same way Bobby White did for me. You know, because when I looked at this initially, it was like literally like they're so secretive. Jewelers are so secretive. They've always been, and it's getting better. But they'll never tell you how it is they do things. They'll never allow you into their shop.
That's so true.
It's
You know? So
you
it's
see
like
the rapper come in, and in those videos, you see the rapper come in.
Yeah.
You see the rapper brag about their skills, them being the best.
But do you ever see the shop?
No, never.
Do you ever see them actually making it?
Rarely, and they show you a little snippet, but not much.
Yeah, no. So it's like, I'm sure they'll hate me for it on a certain level, but like, I want to show people what it is to be a jeweler and keep that art alive, because to me, it's far beyond money. You know, I want to keep the actual handmade trade alive because it is dying in a way. And I think that YouTube and social media is kind of bringing it back to life. But even like I went to Calgary and I spoke to, you know, the biggest shop down there.
Right.
They had about 9 goldsmiths, you know, working there. And the lady who ran the shop, she's from Dublin. She's been working there for 50 years. She told me the oldest jeweler in the city that people know of is 34. There's no one new. No one out of high school, not like literally 34 is their youngest jeweler. And there's no one new coming in anywhere. Same thing in Ottawa. I don't see any other jewelers coming up. They're all old.
Yep.
So it's like, just like many trades, this is a dying trade.
Right.
And you know, what happens when the big guys step down, then their experience is forgotten.
Right.
You know, the ways that they used to make jewelry without, you know, all the technology and the computers and stuff, we're going to forget about that.
Right.
Because there's not any new guys. So
Now it's a lot of
be a
robotic
lost trade.
manufacturing.
well, it's obviously like with anything else, you know, they're finding ways to make this easier.
Right.
Lots of 3D printing. People are kind of getting lazy.
Oh, yes.
And the thing is, to be a jeweler, you got to be a problem solver. They build everything. A good jeweler, they don't blame their tools. They make it work. You know, but I think that's just something I'm trying to, you know, push out there more.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, you were just talking about being a good jeweler. What are some of the challenges that you have to overcome?
I think some of the biggest challenges is the fact that when you start off, like my teacher Costa, I'm working in his shop, super nice guy, but I won't get deep in that right now. I asked him, how much money do I need to build a good shop? Something that like I have everything I need. He told me $100 grand. That's a lot of money when you don't have any idea what you're doing. So it's like, not only do you not have the tools, you also got to figure out how to work without them.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like starting off, it's so much problem solving that like many jewelers say the same thing. When you start off, you need at least 5 years of an apprenticeship working with like a good experienced jeweler, or else you're just not really gonna get by. And I felt that firsthand. You know, like I worked out of my garage for like months before I found Costa, my teacher, and I didn't get anywhere.
Yeah.
I thought I was like learning things
thought you were
slowly,
making headway.
but then you talk to a guy who's been in the industry for 30 years, and everything you do is wrong.
Yeah.
Everything you do is like stupid, or like, you know what I mean?
It's a learning curve.
Yeah, so you need that guy to actually be there to tell you, a guy who, there's some mistakes that it takes 20 years to overcome, and he'll tell you right away. I think that's the biggest thing, you know?
It's gaining that mastery over your craft, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's definitely something to you know be in line of, and you know.
Well, it brings me to something my dad, you know, or actually one of my buddies, his dad told him, which is, it's okay to copy things, just copy the good things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you got to learn from somewhere and from someone, right?
Yeah.
So having a mentor, it's everything, you know?
Yeah.
And you call him a teacher, so I'm sure you guys have a good relationship.
Yeah, no, the thing is, like, when I came back from Turkey, I went there with the hopes of finding a jeweler to teach me the trade, because I didn't want to go to school. You know, like, they were teaching online, and this is very hands-on work. I just didn't believe that I was going to get the value I'm looking for. And coming back from Turkey, I didn't really have anything, right? And I started hitting up jewelers in the area, just, you know, shot in the dark. I was getting a little bit more bold. The first guy who responded, he told me, yeah, you know, like, come into my shop. And I wasn't there to like beg him for a spot in his shop. I was literally just there to ask him if he could engrave my piece, because I made my first piece for my friend, and I just needed somebody to do some engraving work. I didn't even have the tools for it. And he basically clowns me first thing. And this is like summarizes our whole like relationship here. Is that I go into the shop, not a word of lie. He rips me to shreds.
Right.
Because he's like,
he's roasted.
Literally, he's like, man, you bring me in a piece and you tell me, like, I ask you what you want me to do with it. And you tell me you kind of know what you want, but you don't even have a picture. You don't have a design.
Right.
And you sit here in front of me and you expect me to know what to do with this.
Right.
He's like, look, kid, like, go home, draw something up, come back with it, and then we can talk.
Right.
And I'm like, I felt grateful, you know? I was like, that he put me in my place.
Yeah, someone that put you in place.
In a way, I was like, bro, like, don't sugarcoat it. Like, I fucked up.
Yeah.
Right? And I said, fair enough, you know? And the last thing I asked him, because he asked me, he's like, any more questions? And I remember this. It was a Friday. And I'm like, is there any chance you take an apprentice in your shop? I'm not kidding you, man. Like, this guy's so nonchalant. Like, he looked in the back of the shop. He's like, yeah. I'm not kidding.
Right?
I traveled to Turkey.
Right, to
I
find
traveled
that.
like 9,000 miles.
And I was in your backyard.
I spent like literally 2 months searching for a jeweler in a foreign country, living with family, sleeping on floors.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, just searching everywhere. And the first guy that responds to my DMs, he's just like, yeah, man. Come, you know what? How about this? Come back on Monday and we'll see if we can figure something out. And if everything's good, you start Tuesday. That's exactly what happened.
Wow.
And like, I didn't,
favor, man.
like this guy, man, like, he's the most solid jeweler I've ever met in my life. And I got to give massive props to him. He's the most humble guy I've ever met. Like, you put a camera on this guy, I've never seen anything like it. He's the same dude. Literally, like, he doesn't change. Like, whether the camera's there or not, he doesn't even flinch. Never has. Like, he doesn't care. So that's why, like, I was doing videos.
OG.
Yeah, like, I was doing videos in the studio and he just never cared. You know, like, whether the camera's there or not, like, he's just the same guy.
Right. We're going to talk about your viral videos real soon.
Yeah.
But what keeps you going even in hard times?
Tough
We
time.
only give the good questions that straight facts, you know what I mean?
Tough time never lasts.
Never last.
Tough time never lasts. It's just like, man, when you're going through tough times, I think you go through enough to realize that, like, it's not there to stay. And that's where you actually grow. You know, like, right now, I feel like I'm going through some of the toughest times that I've ever seen. You know, but even though it's like the hardest challenges I've ever had to overcome, I've never felt so ready.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, for 3 years now, I've been working towards this, and I've been building up all these tools, reading all these books. I've been, you know, watching all these podcasts, learning from all these people, kind of gaining my own identity through it all. And now that everything is stacked up against me, I feel like if I'm not going to make this work, it's just because I didn't try hard enough.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, but I feel so ready for what's coming my way. But I think that's it, you know what I mean? Like, the hard times are just, you never want those things to happen again.
Seems like it's going to take much to break you, Xeno. I mean, maybe it's your military background?
Oh, man.
You ever thought of that?
No, I think it's
I
really...
mean, someone had to instill something in
Look,
you.
my dad-
You didn't just were born and here's Xeno.
Yeah, no, my dad used to drill me when I was younger, like, hard when it came to, like, the shit I wasn't doing good.
Right.
But it's also, like, it was tough love, you know what I mean? Like, we used to race motocross, me and my brother. And I think that's where I really, learned my work ethic. Because we were at the track 5 days a week, and we'd race basically on day 6 on Saturdays. Right. And me and my brother, we got to being top 3 riders in the country.
Okay, that's big.
But the thing is, my dad, he had such a perfect dynamic where he'd say, listen, if we're going to put in all this effort and we race every week and I'm putting all this money, like, he didn't even have that kind of money, you know what I mean? Put everything he had into it. So you're going to give me 1 hour where you do exactly as I say, uninterrupted, you stay focused, you do exactly what I tell you to do. For the rest of the day, do whatever the fuck you want. We're at the track, have fun, but for 1 hour a day, you're gonna do exactly as I say. And that's what it took to build champions.
Right.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's like, you give me that hour where we just work, but then you experiment. And I feel like I'm kind of applying that at this stage of my life. It's like, there's times where I tell everybody, like, I've even told my family before, you know, like, listen, these next couple months, don't expect anything from me. I'm gonna be as selfish as you've ever seen me.
Phones on DND.
Do not disturb.
And there's times where it's hard, you know what I mean? Because like I'm trying so many new things where it requires like my full undivided attention.
Yes.
And I literally need to give a warning, like, look, if you call me, I might not be there. And I need that to be okay in advance.
Right.
You know, but that's how deep the shit goes. You know, that you literally need to warn people.
Right.
You're setting up boundaries. Make yourself, successful, right?
Yeah.
Right. It's kind of like LeBron James during the playoffs. Every year, his phone is off for the entire playoffs.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
0 dark 30. Mamba mentality.
Yeah.
I have to ask, bro. You're
let the
very,
man
you're
cook.
very focused,
Yeah.
and those viral videos. We see why. We're gonna get to it. Don't worry about it.
Tell us about it. At this point, we've been.
Yeah. You know what? The producers ain't giving us the
Just
question.
tell us about it.
Okay, talk about your viral videos and why are they viral.
What
Dude,
made your
I
your
think-
video so viral?
To the viewer that doesn't know nothing about Xeno, the poppin' influencer online.
I figured out the formula, and it's so simple. It's just like I'm exactly myself. Like it's full authenticity. I'm fully genuine. Like when I make those videos, I'm the same guy. Like the way I'm talking to you guys now, I'm talking with my boys like all day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when I make these videos, I'm exactly myself, and I think people can feel that. You know, they can kind of like sense that through the camera.
Yeah.
And that means it's not really draining my energy. You know, I'm not really tired making these videos because
You're just being yourself.
Yeah.
yeah, and it's like there's so many times where like there's so many things that I could have taken videos of that people would have been like mind blown. But I keep forgetting to like pull my camera out, you know what I mean? Like I'm so genuine about the
Right.
stuff that I do.
Right.
That it doesn't even really matter to show the good stuff.
And what is exactly that you do? For someone that's never seen your videos and they're asking you, what type of videos do you do?
Yeah.
What would you say?
I think the best way I can narrow it down is just like lifestyle content. You know, like obviously everybody goes to work the same way I do. You know, I run a window cleaning business. I'm also a jeweler, you know, which is like the main hustle. At least that's where I'm trying to get to. But at the same time, you know, I'm still like a human being that, you know, I go out, I travel, you know, even like I got a vacation booked in 2 weeks.
Right.
And there's going to be a whole week of content just lined up for that.
Right.
You know, so I think anything that I do, it's going out there. And I think I'm starting to build a community of people that are really seriously engaged in what I'm doing. And it doesn't really matter what I do. They're just there for it.
They're very engaged in your comment section, bro. They're like updating each other. I was talking with one of your guys in the back, like, bro, like it looks like you've got a lot of fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people that are,
Yeah, man. And
relating to.
I don't know if we should wait for the drop on YouTube, but where you going in 2 weeks, bro? Where you going?
Yeah, I was being low key about that. But you know what?
We like the exclusive at Straight FedEx.
I'm going to Aruba.
Aruba?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, that's nice.
Okay.
So I booked it like a few months back, just kind of like as a finish line.
Okay.
Because I knew like it's so hard when you've been working so hard for so long. It's hard to kind of like draw the line somewhere. So my finish line is like I'm gonna be sitting my ass on a tropical island,
Yes, sir.
doing whatever I want, riding ATVs, exploring coves and stuff.
Oh, yes.
That's where it all ends for me. So I feel like it's a lot easier to work hard when you know that you have like that waiting for you.
Right. No, that's good, man. It's a little. You got to reward yourself from here.
It's very important with all the
Here and
hard
there.
work you're doing, right? So,
Yeah.
What's next? What's next? What's the next big project after this?
We need to know, Xeno.
I'm working on something right now that's basically kind of like, because what I was doing before is like a challenge over the course of 60 days, right?
It was a 30K in 60 days.
Yeah.
I just gotta talk about it because that thing is going crazy online, bro.
People are loving it, dude. Even I got one video that's like on Instagram that's like cracking 600K, and I'm getting like I got like 3,000 followers just from that one video. I'm sure a lot of people are watching too.
Right.
Okay, so making $30,000 in 60 days. That video or that series, it was literally just like, I don't know if we talked about this already, but I was sitting there under I was just sitting there under a tree, like on the beach, just thinking to myself, because I was working so hard and it wasn't really going anywhere. You know what I mean? Like as much as I seem successful with what I'm doing, just like everybody else, I have days where just like my mind's not in the right place and I'm not working hard enough, right? and I felt like I needed to like kind of just take a break. And as I sat under that tree, I just thought to myself, I have 60 days until the winter shows up, and I can't make money anymore. And I looked at my budgeting and I realized I need $30,000. And I was like, it's a lot of money.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it's like either way, no matter what happens, if I don't make that $30,000, I'm screwed. And I was making stories on Instagram telling people this, and then it kind of like light bulb flicked in my head. I'm like, why am I not posting about this? Right? And that very same minute, I posted on TikTok saying, if I don't make $30,000 in the next 60 days, I'm screwed. This is day 0, and I'm gonna be like, tomorrow we're starting this, and this is like a real thing. Like I'm not just, that was in no way fake.
Yes.
And not for a second did I fake $1. There was even like times where I forgot to put money in. You know what I mean? So I got some DMs where people were like, bro, show the receipts, show this, show that.
Right.
Like, bro, you're faking all this.
Right.
But the truth is, I actually wasn't showing
People
everything.
actually DMing you hating?
real, man.
Bro, I had like 5 DMs a day.
Wow.
Not just hating,
Right.
but like people just talking about the challenges.
Right.
Imagine how many views the second video ever got.
Oh my God. I got like, it's at like 400,000 views
Right.
right now.
But ever posted. Deuxième.
So your second video of all time?
I went from 0 followers to
Right.
like probably 1,000 in like 3 days.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then like right away I got to making lives, and then I was making more.
Right. I mean, as a guy that doesn't work, I don't have a 9 to 5. Work for myself.
Yeah.
It's music to my ears when I hear your grind, bro. When I hear you under a tree and my French came out. When I hear you just thinking, bro, I need to make 30K. What's my deadline? Let's go. It's music to my ears.
Yeah.
Somewhere in the world, Birdman and Soldier Boy's listening to this. They're very
It
happy.
just sounded too crazy to not like do something with it.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
It's
It's like no matter what, like I need that. No matter what, like
Yeah.
I was gonna do that.
and we're talking about this off camera. I think it kind of, you were holding yourself accountable too, because there was more
Social
eyeballs
proof.
watch. There was social proof, right?
Yeah.
People were actually watching your stuff. You knew people were watching it, right? And it keeps you accountable even more. Not that you needed it as a guy that's very vital.
Well, I think it sure helps. You
I'm
know,
sure it
like,
helps.
like gotta keep it humble there, because like if I wasn't keeping myself accountable on social media, there definitely would have been days where I wouldn't have gone out. But then there's like the point of like, okay, all these people are watching and they're inspired. So all these people, they're telling me that like, yo man, I'm so inspired by your series. I want to start a window cleaning business now. Like I probably like got a real 20 people that texted me like personally saying, hey
That
bro,
just started.
I just made my first $200 today cleaning
Wow.
gutters. Like real people that said, yo, it's like it's your fault that I'm doing this.
Right.
You know, like I actually affected them that way. So imagine on those days where if I just wouldn't have gone out, and then they're looking at me as if I'm lazy, and I'm allowing them to be lazy too.
Right.
I couldn't have that.
Right.
So it's like, for sure, those people helped push me, but I think I was also limiting myself in saying I need 30K. If you were to ask me, if I didn't say I need 30 grand, if I were to just say I need to make as much as possible, I think I could have pushed to like 40, 50.
Maybe you're not just an influencer, but you're also a motivational speaker or motivational content creator. Does that
There you
exist?
go.
That
There you go.
subcategory exists?
Yeah.
It's
Maybe you're creating it.
dude, it's like so unintentional, but that's what it is.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm literally just, my point is that like I couldn't have this drain my energy. I just wanted to be myself. And naturally the way that I speak, like people pick up on that. But it's like the same way I speak to myself. You know what I mean? Like I don't really have many role models, if any.
Right.
Because I'm really just the things that I'm doing, I don't know anybody else that's doing what I want to be doing.
Right.
So it's like, who do I look at? You know, if I look at a guy who's making millions, cool, but like, how do you do that?
Right.
So every time I do something new, it's original in my own way, because no one's actually doing where I want to be. I think there's gonna be, you know, thousands of people that's gonna try and replicate what I'm doing. You can copy my style, but you can't copy my unique. That's where I feel comfortable. That's where I sleep good at night, because no matter what you do, you can't keep up. I'm
Yes.
always ahead,
Yes.
you know?
No, I totally hear you, man, and your vision is very clear. I
Yeah.
hope you inspire a lot of people that are watching this show right now to just go for it,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
be accountable to yourself and be authentic.
Yeah.
Authentic.
Yeah.
right? Because
Be genuine with your
if
intentions.
you're fake,
yeah.
they're gonna see it,
Yeah.
right? Now we hear that you're door-to-door expert. That's word on the street.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jordan in the back there. But talk to us about that, man.
Expert's a strong word, but I'd say
It takes a different type of person to go door-to-door as a guy who's done it.
it's not. The thing about door to door is that you got to show up. It's really like going to the gym. You know what I mean? It's like, how long are you willing to stay in the gym every single day? It's the same feeling, you know, when you're knocking doors and you're really not getting anywhere. I really pity the guys that don't know what they're doing because they have no idea to what extent it's difficult. You know, like a guy like me, like even with my manager, you know, Jordan, I took him to a street, like on his first day that he was filming with me, I took him to a street where I literally looked at it. And to the naked eye, you'd look at this and go, all right, let's give this a go. I told him word for word, I said, we're making no money here. But I had to knock the doors first. I had to see what kind of people we were dealing with.
Yeah.
I knocked 3 doors. Immediately, I'm like, nope, we're leaving. But the guy who doesn't know what he's doing, he would have knocked every single door. He would have made no money.
Right.
I promise you that. We move on to the next street. I look ahead, and no word of a lie. I tell him, and he is my witness. I said, first door, we're getting a job. And it's not like he didn't believe me, but it's like, all right, let's see, you know? First door I knock, nobody answers. Second door, $600 job. Next thing I know, I see the neighbor in the backyard. You know, I talk to him. I grab $700 out of him. You know, there's a guy across the street. He's mowing his lawn, and he's like almost mad that I asked him. You know, he's like, nah, man, I would never pay for that. I would never do that.
Right.
But then I offered him a service that he knew nothing about. I'm like, I'll scrub the outside of your gutters, make them look perfect. And my selling point for that was really simple. Look, man, your home was built 20 years ago. It took this long for them to get that dirty. They'll stay clean. So even the dude that was pissed that I was even on his lawn, I converted him to like a $250 sale.
Right.
You know, so like I kept pushing it, but it's like I have all this knowledge from previous experience, but the guy who's starting off, he has this mentality that like no matter what, you don't quit. But that's so flawed because it's like if you're knocking 50 doors and no one says yes, find a new spot.
Right.
You forgot to mention the upselling.
The upsells.
It's so sick to watch this guy upsell.
Yeah.
Talk about your upselling.
Upselling is just like it's really, when you upsell, you need to really be sort of like their friend. You know what I mean? People, if they get the feeling that you're like a stranger just trying to pull money out of them,
Yes.
it's not gonna happen.
Right.
But if you're speaking to them from a position of like you're like a neighbor and you're just here to help them out,
Right.
it's not like you're really being devious in that way. It's like, yeah, like you're giving them a fantastic price, but obviously you want them to say yes. So it's like I'll already be on the job and I'll be like, okay, man, look, we're already cleaning your windows. We most of your neighbors, they're adding on this service of like scrubbing the outside of their gutters, or you know, we bundle up gutter cleaning with window cleaning. I'm already here. All my equipment's already out. I'll knock off literally $80. Let's get everything done today, and you won't have to worry about this for the rest of the year.
Right.
You'd be shocked how many people actually say yes to that. And if they say no, it's like I keep trying to make it work. You know, I'm like, you know what? Yeah.
You don't take the first no, it's a soft no.
Dude, like they have to get mad.
Sales experts are very happy with what you're saying right now.
It's literally like they have to get to the point where they're like, dude, like stop.
Like, go away, buddy.
Yeah.
Literally, because it's like, I think a lot of people, they respect the hustle.
Yeah.
In a way, it's not like I would never push it so far where they hate me, but like
course.
they respect the game.
Yeah.
At the same time, like people will look at this from an outside perspective and they'll get pissed, but they don't realize like in the heat of the moment, that's what you're doing. You're negotiating. Like they're open to that conversation.
Let me ask you, what makes you look at a street and you're like, okay, it's gonna be rough, and oh, this is gonna be good? Is it like the fences, the way the houses are, the neighborhoods? Like, what is it?
Man, I'm gonna say some controversial stuff. Look,
Be
man,
nice, be nice.
This has
Your clients are watching.
look, man. This has nothing to do with race. Okay.
Whenever you say that, it's bad.
Producers, are we good?
This has everything to do with culture.
Yeah.
All right. Immigrants, when they come over, they have a mentality. They work hard.
Yes.
They don't want to pay somebody to do something they're perfectly capable of doing.
Correct.
If I see immigrants,
Yes.
that's a hard no.
Yes. No, but I'm in the service business. I love my brothers. So I love all races.
But the thing is, like, what you're looking for at that point,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
most of the houses I sell on, they have a Canada flag.
So basically, you're looking for maybe established Canadian families that
Yes.
might have,
You have a certain-
somewhat generational wealth.
Because
You have
this
a
is
certain demographics that you're looking
this is
for.
part of our culture.
Yeah.
In our culture, people pay to have their windows cleaned.
Yeah.
That's
if you
so
go to the
true.
Middle East,
That's so
they
true.
don't pay for that.
Yeah.
That's so
So
true.
people they're gonna say I'm racist for bringing that up, but it's like, man, I've knocked 10,000 doors.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna say which ethnicity,
Mm-hmm.
but I've landed 3 jobs
Right.
of this like sort of culture.
Yeah.
And it's like when they open the door, like I've been with Jordan before, I make it short. Literally,
Right.
like they open the door, and I'm just like, hey, we're here cleaning your neighbor's windows, and they cut me off.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, like, no, thank you, bye.
I'm in the service industry. We do talk about that. You know, when you talk about your leads, you're like, okay, well, where they from? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And because every client is different,
Yeah.
right? So it's kind of like when you say this, I hear you because your model is very much like in and
Yeah.
out, upselling. Here's your service, next, right?
Yeah.
And you're right. I hear you with this.
Yeah.
Everybody's different, and yes, it is true. It is cultural, right?
And it's up to us to respect that.
Right.
You know, because there's certain people like, yeah, they will do it, but then they're gonna negotiate you down so hard to the point where
Correct.
you
So
feel
you-
disrespected.
Exactly.
So it's like, it's not like you don't give them the time of day. You treat them like a human being. You ask them the same questions, but it's almost like you already know what the answer is.
Yes.
So to answer your question, when I look at a street and I know that that's a good street, it looks like it just sort of
It's
looks,
all whites.
the grass.
We're the glebe. We're good boys.
even deeper than that, bro. Everything's already clean.
Yeah.
That's
So
the
they take
craziest part.
pride in their home.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, dude, people, they'll start off and their first thought, which is like perfectly rational, they'll go to a street where every house is just, you know,
Unkept.
like
Right.
so far
It's
gone.
unkept.
Like
Right, right,
the
right.
siding is green, windows look like they've never been washed.
Yeah.
And it's like, what makes you think they're gonna pay for that? They've gone 20 years without cleaning their home.
Yeah.
What makes you think that this is the
Yeah.
year?
This is the year.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Jordan.
I go to clean houses where I literally, in my mind, I'm thinking, why the hell are they getting their windows cleaned? But they still
Right.
want it done.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like every single year they'll do it once or twice.
Yeah.
And it's like I literally look for the most clean homes and I have the most success with them.
I think also like culturally, like when you mentioned the race thing, what I've realized as well is sometimes, let's say, if you're used to seeing your parents do something, right?
Yeah.
You're used to seeing your parents, paying for
habitual.
services that people can actually do themselves.
Yeah.
You might be more prone, right, to go ahead and doing it when you're in that situation.
Yeah.
You know. I'm just trying to save you, man, because the liberals are coming for your ass
Dude,
with these
it's-
comments.
and you know what? the absolute worst place to be
Yeah.
is the rich neighborhoods.
It's hit or
Really?
miss.
Because the rich neighborhoods, the thing is, they don't even want, they see through it.
Yeah.
If they want it, they'll call somebody.
Exactly.
They see through it. Like they hate door-to-door salesmen because they're
Right.
always at their door.
Yeah.
And it's like, even if you do land the job, how do you think they got rich? They're like kings of negotiation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they'll water down your prices
Yeah.
the same way, other people will.
Right. So it could be misleading. So that's experience on your part for sure.
Yeah, so it's like I've
Yeah.
knocked 10,000 doors, and I pity those that like are just starting out because I feel their pain. You don't know all this stuff, and you're
Right.
gonna try so hard. It does take years. You can't mistake the process. It's like people ask me all the time, "How do I start?" And all I can say is start.
Right.
Yeah.
Just go out there.
That's all it is. Like just start because you gotta feel that pain of like you literally feel angry some days because you just don't get it.
right.
You just don't understand what you're doing wrong.
Right.
And you gotta sit there and reflect.
I think another thing too that I think you should mention to the viewers too is that like it's okay to mess up and fail, right? If you're trying hard and
You're supposed to.
right, and let's say you're doing a cleaning job and then the customer sees you trying and you mess up and then you really want to fix it, right? There's value to this too. Like the customer will know that you're
experience.
trying to do good.
Yeah, exactly.
It's experience
Right?
that you're gonna learn.
Can't tell
right?
me
So-
Xeno pulled up 10,000 jobs, perfect. You messed up a little bit.
Yeah.
Not
exactly.
enough to be in trouble, but you're doing good.
What's the best advice that you've ever received?
Oh man, I'm not ready for that one. I think, you know what? I'll give props to my dad here. He tells me all the time I'm going too fast, and he's right. You know,
Maybe it's his military background.
the thing is, you know, he's one of my biggest supporters, but I think I don't want that to be true. Just like I think a lot of us, we're in that same situation where it's like we want things to work right away. When we start something, we have this mentality of like, okay, I got 2 months of being in the gutter and then I'll be good. But it's like we're looking forward to being okay, but we don't realize that things take 10 times longer than you actually initially expect. You know, I thought it'd be a year and I'd be on my feet making jewelry. I'm 3 years in and I'm just like at the point where like I'm actually starting. So I think the best advice, or one of the best, is literally just like take your time.
Right.
Trust the process, because if you don't want to be tripping over your feet, you know, that hurts way more than, you know, just taking your time and being okay with things not working out right away.
Right. Now, back to jewelry. What's the best piece you've seen
Most
of all time?
chain.
You know what?
Could be Lil Baby on IG.
Look,
could be
dude.
J. Cole on stage whenever he feels like putting a chain. But the best piece you've seen in person or online, tell us that straight FedEx, please.
I actually do have a favorite piece.
Which one is it?
One of my favorite jewelers, like in my opinion, he's one of the greatest jewelers in the world, Eliante. He made a cross that I've never seen anything like it. Yeah, I've seen millions of crosses in my lifetime.
What makes it special?
It just, he had like roses and like kind of skulls or whatever. Like he had all this coming out, and the way he worked with the diamonds, and like I've seen millions of crosses, not literally, but you know what I mean?
Right,
Like
yeah.
I've seen so many crosses in my life, and I've never seen anybody. I didn't even realize you could be that creative
Right, with a
about
cross.
something so like generic.
Right, which is a cross, yeah, for sure.
Something that's so like common as a cross.
Yes.
Because to me, it's like you could go all out. Like I could say the greatest piece I've ever seen really was like Ben Baller's piece with the astronaut. You know, if you look him up, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Took him about 3 months to finish. Made it for Kid Cudi, and it's like everything about that piece was fantastic. But I think it's like what really stands out to me is when people take sort of like the same thing, like the motto of Rolls Royce. They'll take something that's already there, but they'll just make it better. And I think that's something that crosses my mind pretty often, because people, they don't want anything new. When you start making jewelry, you realize people don't want the creative pieces. They want to look like everybody else,
Yeah.
which is pretty disappointing.
Right.
But that's a truth you got to face. You know, so it's like, with that being said, you're going to take something that everybody wants, but you're just going to have the best piece in the
Your
Make it
take
the
on
best
it?
you can.
Yeah,
You say so,
I was just saying it's essentially your own take on it, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're finding a way to make it better.
It's like if I asked you to paint a flower, all three of us, they'd look like very different. You know what I mean? But who was the most creative? Who brought the newest ideas? Who, you know what I mean?
So after he smoked.
Yeah, I was about to say, yo, all good, all good. What advice would you want your viewers to have if they were to become an entrepreneur?
I think
What would be the one
what's
piece of
the
advice?
most important thing I'd say that I wish somebody told me is make the commitment first. Don't become an entrepreneur. Don't like start anything until you agree with yourself that you're not quitting.
Yeah.
Because I think that commitment is everything. The commitment is what makes you keep going when nothing is certain. You know, because I think it's so easy to quit when you look at something as an option. But when you look at it from a standpoint of like do or die, it's like you look at it in such a way that it's like I've had 100 different situations where I looked at this and I went, I have no idea how I'm supposed to pull out of this. You know, like even like last winter was the roughest winter I've ever had, struggling to pay rent, didn't know where my next meal was coming from, always broke, so deep in debt. But it's like, you know, you're not quitting.
Yeah.
You know, you're not jumping ship and like asking for help and like jumping here and there. It's like, no, I made that commitment. There's not even a single thought that crosses my mind that I'm not going through with this. But it's like, if you don't have that initial commitment, you will quit. It's a certain thing. I promise you
That's
that.
the path of least resistance, right? People tend
Yeah.
to quit because
And-
if it's too hard for people,
Yeah.
yeah,
And this foundation is everything.
Yeah.
You got to build on solid ground,
yeah.
you know?
I agree, man.
Tonight, gems, diamonds, what you drop as knowledge for us. Xeno, thanks for coming tonight.
Motivational. so much, man.